Hey everyone, welcome back to The Long Dark. Today I have a different video for you all. As you guys recall, just a little bit ago we finished the Escape the Darkwalker challenge. And with that kind of comes a little rite of passage where that was our last Long Dark challenge. So I feel like we have the right now to kind of rate each of the challenges based on their difficulty and personally based on their fun. I'm really mostly just going to be ranking them on their fun, which ones I found the best, and we'll see which ones come in at number one, and we'll see which ones kind of come in near last place. So, yeah, this should be pretty interesting. Something new, but hopefully, maybe people who want to pursue these challenges can maybe learn a little bit from this and my experiences and my playthroughs. So, without any further ado, let's get right into it. All right, so coming in at number seven at the very bottom of the list, it's a challenge that most of you know, and if you haven't played it, I can't really recommend you do, but it is the Nomad Challenge. This challenge, I had a lot of things to say, and they were mostly negative. If you guys watched my playthrough, you would know that I really do not think highly of this challenge. I think it was pretty boring. It was very, here's 15, 20 locations and just go. Don't do anything and stay there for 3 days. Very, very boring. I do think it was it's challenging for the newer players. I will give the challenge that. The Nomad Challenge is good for those wanting to learn the maps, 100%. But for somebody like me, not a ton of excitement. It's just a very rinse and repeat type of game mode, and I really wasn't too fond of that, unfortunately. Now, for the Nomad Challenge, the Long Dark does give this challenge a 3 out of 6 difficulty. Personally, I would go ahead and just give this a 2 out of 6 difficulty. Like I said, for somebody like me, or even a player that kind of plays pretty often, or not that often, it doesn't seem like it would be too difficult. All you're doing is just eating, drinking, and traveling, basically, to all these locations. Now, in terms of fun in the Nomad Challenge, I would have to unfortunately give this a 0 out of 6. I had no fun with this challenge whatsoever. I actually found it to be quite a drag trying to record because it was so incredibly boring. You sit there for 3 days with everything basically handed to you, and you just don't really do anything. It was tough. It was tough. And unfortunately, that's why Nomad is at number seven as my least favorite challenge. All right, so coming in at number six, hot on the heels of Nomad at number seven, it's Archivist. Really another, I hate to say lame, I don't want to be mean, but it's just not, it wasn't fun. It wasn't that fun. It was better than Nomad, I'll give it that, but no. Archivist definitely gets the number six spot. It is a 2 out of 6 difficulty. The Long Dark says 3 out of 6, but personally, I would give Archivist probably a 2 out of 6. It's not overly hard. It's literally just Nomad, except you don't have to spend those 3 days at each location. You just go around collecting the buffer memories during an aurora. Not very fun, which leads me to the next thing. It's a 1 out of 6 on the fun scale. Yeah, they really nothing too much else to say. The ending for doing all that work, just like Nomad, not rewarding in the least. It was a little more fun than Nomad. That's why it's at number six. But other than that, this is a challenge that I would also kind of avoid and not play again. Coming in at number five here, we have the Hopeless Rescue Challenge. Now, Hopeless Rescue was definitely a different tone than the last two, Archivist and Nomad, because you were on a time limit, if I recall. Believe it was 1 week or 7 days to travel from Mystery Lake to the summit of Timberwolf Mountain to pick up that flare gun and bring it all the way back to Desolation Point's lighthouse to light it off and ultimately end the challenge. Now, the Long Dark actually does give this challenge a 4 out of 6 for difficulty, but in reality, I'm going to tone it back to probably more like a 2 out of 6 for difficulty. I'm trying to look at this from a beginner standpoint, and yes, you might have some trouble making it to Timberwolf Mountain, but let's be honest, the loot pool and the fact that you will probably have a flare gun for most of your journey really screams not that hard to me, and it really wasn't. Now, I will say, if the game had me going through Timberwolf territory like Bleak Inlet or Blackrock, then yes, absolutely, that you probably have to turn up the difficulty quite a bit. But it really just wasn't difficult. The return voyage was pretty smooth. And that kind of leads me to my next point, which is the fun. Really a 2 out of 6 type of challenge for the fun department. It was a lot more fun than Nomad or Archivist. Definitely had a little different tone. I liked the pressure of the countdown in the beginning. That was a nice, like, hey, here's your send off. Go ahead and finish it really quickly. It gave that stress factor, but other than that, Hopeless Rescue comfortably sits at number 5. Definitely, though, a step in the right direction from Nomad or Archivist. Next up here on our list at number 4, we have the Whiteout Challenge. Now, personally, I actually did enjoy the Whiteout Challenge. I thought it was a good balance of difficulty and fun for newer and experienced players, with the sole goal of this challenge basically being to prepare for a blizzard, or hence the challenge name, a whiteout, and stock supplies that are listed in your journal. This challenge wasn't overly hard because a lot of the resources listed in your journal are able to be found either in Coastal Highway or in the regions surrounding Coastal Highway. So I think whether you are experienced or inexperienced at the game, it wouldn't be too bad. Besides, the game does give you a month, an entire month, to go ahead and scrounge those supplies. So whatever you need, you're more than likely to probably find it in and around your region. Now, for difficulty, the Long Dark does give this a 4 out of 6, so a little bit on the tougher side that we've seen so far on the list. But personally, I'd probably scale it back to a 3 out of 6. It's difficult, but it's not bad, and it's not easy either. It's really right in that middle. And the fun meter as well is going to really display the same thing, a 3 out of 6, right at the 50% mark. I had fun, but I also did think it dragged on a little long at times. And I really, really did wish that we could see the blizzard that happened at the end. I mean, it's the best part. You're going the whole 28, 30 days to scrounge all these supplies, and you don't even see what happens. The challenge just kind of ends, which really is unfortunate, but it's a good challenge. This was definitely an improvement from the last 3, and now you can kind of see we're starting to get into the better challenges. Next on the list, we have the Hunted Parts 1 and 2. This was also a pretty unique challenge. So basically, you're being hunted by a bear in both parts. You have to, I believe in the first part, you have to get to trappers in Mystery Lake without getting caught by the bear. And then in part 2, you're basically chasing the bear down into its bear den. So, pretty fun all around. I'm not gonna lie, this one was you're kept on your toes a lot from beginning to end. The Long Dark does give this a 5 out of 6, and I can see that. So I'm gonna keep it also at a 5 out of 6 for difficulty. It was definitely on the difficult side. Might not be good for beginners and experienced players, but you could probably get by. And the fun department as well, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 6 because I was on my toes. I was stressed. I did feel that stress to keep moving and to reach my destination, which really carried me through the entire playthrough. So I did enjoy both the Hunted parts 1 and 2, and I hope they come out with a third part as well because that was really enjoyable. So these 2 parts are going to sit at number 3. Definitely an improvement from Hopeless Rescue and Whiteout, but also not the best challenge. We've got 2 more left. All right, coming in at number 2, we have As the Dead Sleep. Now, this is an absolute classic. You start in Bleak Inlet. The difficulty is Interloper, but the catch is you cannot recover condition. And you're going to have to go find all of these crosses, these grave marks that are around the world, scattered around the world. Now, once you get out of Bleak Inlet, the loot table almost resembles a lot of Stalker loot. So it's not the toughest challenge in the world, but it is certainly far from beginners. So this is going to be a 6 out of 6 difficulty on my end and on the Long Dark's end. So we both have the same rating for this one. Yeah, it's whenever you talk about interloper difficulties with no condition recovery, you're already going to be in the upper echelon of difficulty. So, and the fun really does reflect that. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 6 in the fun department. It was just fun. It was a nice gaming experience, as they say. It was, you're stressed from beginning to end. You finish it, it feels rewarding a little bit. The ending could probably be a little bit better, but still, it felt rewarding to finish that. And I've completed this challenge a few times now, and I mean, every time I do it, it makes me want to play Interloper that much more. So that's why this is at number two. And yeah, an improvement from the Hunted and Whiteout, but we still have one more challenge left. All right. If you've been keeping track of the last challenge, it must be, then you'll probably know what it is. But this number one challenge was one we did most recently, and it was by far, oh my goodness, one of the most funnest things I think I've ever done in the long dark. And that's saying a ton during my several thousand hours of gameplay. So at number one, we have Escape the Darkwalker. Oh my goodness. Talk about stress, right? I mean, it's one of those game modes where you don't think you're going to make it, and then somehow you do. And that just feels so rewarding. I had so many of those moments, especially as we were trying to thread the needle in Hushed River Valley. It was it looked bleak. It looked bleak at certain points, but basically what you had to do is you had to go around and collect 10 diary pages. I think they were diary pages, but it was 10 pages, and you had to use your tools like ward, lure, and you could even use one to retreat the fog, which I didn't use at all, but that's basically the concept of it. And you have to all the while keep running away from the Dark Walker. You can't sleep really too much unless you've got something to ward the Dark Walker away. But oh my goodness, you can already see how this is going to be a 6 out of 6 difficulty. Now, the Long Dark says it's that, and I'm going to say it's that as well. This is probably harder than As the Dead Sleep. And for beginners, I wouldn't start here, man. This is not the challenge to be starting at. And then in terms of fun, this is going to get the highest fun rating from me at 6 out of 6. The stress, my goodness, I almost want to play it again. That's how much fun I had. The stress from when I spawned in Desolation Point to when I end in Ash Canyon. Oh, it was so good. I'm starting to stumble over my words. So I'm going to start calming myself down now. Towards the end, it was definitely rewarding. It was probably one of the coolest endings out of all the challenges as well. Again, not going to spoil it, but yes, so worth it. I felt like I actually completed like a dead man challenge or just something ridiculously hard. It was very rewarding, and I definitely do recommend this challenge to be played at least once if you have the time, or if you finally get over the fear of tackling the Dark Walker, which I can understand. It definitely gave that unique aspect of horror in the Long Dark that you don't typically see unless you're getting, I guess, attacked by a moose, a bear, or a pack of timber wolves. Then you probably get horror a little bit. But no, this was such a unique challenge, and it presented itself so well. The gameplay was phenomenal. The wildlife wasn't too bad, and the loot wasn't too bad as well. It really just matched the overall atmosphere. So, Escape the Darkwalker at number one, I think it is the most appropriate thing on this list, the most accurate thing on this list. Yeah, but there we have it. Number one, Escape the Darkwalker, just edging out As the Dead Sleep for my most favorite challenge we've played thus far. All right, guys. So there we have it. A different type of video, but you know what? I think this was appropriate for finishing all of the Long Darks challenges. It was quite a journey. It really was. And I'm glad I got to be able to get a taste of all of them and put them in a rankings list, hopefully to help you out, or I don't know, just for my mental state to put everything on paper. It was worth it. It was worth it. I would definitely recommend this challenge saga, if you will, to anybody who's got the time, who's got the resources. It's super fun. It's super fun. And I think you all can understand why Escape the Darkwalker would be number one and why Nomad would be dead last at number seven. Pretty valid reasons. I tried to look at it from a beginner player standpoint, but I also have to realize that this is my tier list, so kind of going through my lenses as well. So I think I balanced it out pretty well. And let me know down in the comments too. If you prefer the list to be different, what would you put at number one? Because I know I wouldn't put Nomad or Archivist at number one, but maybe you would. So yeah, just let me know. I do read all of it, so whatever you put down, I'll see it. So be a good boy in the comments, all right? I'm just playing, but hey, if you made it this far, as always, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you all in the next episode.